Would you believe there's such a thing as a DIY rapid deployment greenhouse? Well, there is now, because I'm doing it. As we moved into week 2 of full lockdown, I noticed problems with the supply chain. There was quite a bit of food that I was used to getting that I couldn't get anymore. I realised that I was going to have to look after myself. So the challenge has been to make myself a small greenhouse that I can raise seedlings in using what I had lying around the place, because there are no shops open, we're not allowed to go anywhere. I'm going to have to use my initiative and make a greenhouse out of what I've got that I can find lying around here. And I did it in 2 days. First thing was find these 6 pallets behind the shed, pull them out and start arranging them into the rough shape that I was hoping to achieve. Dig out a couple of posts and get these posts into the ground, and then I tech screwed the pallets to the posts and the pallets to each other, levelling everything up. I've lifted the pallets off the ground because they're not treated, and I do want this to last. So I've lifted them off the ground and placed 1 brick underneath. That'll stop them from getting damp at the bottom. And I have a piece of black polythene that I've measured at 2 metres wide. So if I cut that in half and join it end to end, that's going to give me a long 1 metre wide strip. Now that can go right the way around this lower part of the wall that I'm building, which is going to make it watertight, and being black, it's going to encourage the heat to build up and make the greenhouse nice and warm. I've dug the posts, the normal 2 foot into the ground, which is what fence posts normally go, and I've left them loose at the moment, so that when I've attached the pallets to the posts, I can then get a level and level up the post and fill them back into the ground so that everything's nice and firm. The best way to make a post really tight in a post hole is to just put about half of the soil back into the hole and then give it a really, really hard tamping with a solid piece of timber. Once that's done, top up the hole with the rest of the soil to the ground level and tamp all that down as well, and you'll end up with a very, very firm fence post. Next job after that is to get one of these odd shaped pallets and cut it to length, because I'm going to use that to fill in the random gap that I've still got left between the wall of the old shed and the greenhouse wall. Alrighty then, as Jim Carrey would say. That is the lower half of the walls done. Oh, yeah, should have got a hammer, but never mind. A piece of brick will do the job. Bash this down, screw it into place, and then I can cover it with that black polythene that I was mentioning earlier. The rest of that long skinny pallet that I cut up for that blocking up that piece is now going to be a bench. And here, I was really lucky to have these curved bows from a commercial greenhouse left over. Way too big for what I need. So I'm bringing them into the workshop and I'm going to cut them down and turn them into something that's more suitable for my job. That will involve changing the angle on the flange at the end, which I'm going to do here by just bending it in the vise and getting all 5 of them to the same angle. I've got a sliding bevel here that I'm just checking the angle with, and that ensures that I'll get all 5 of them exactly the same. Because these things are way longer than I need, I've cut them in half, and these little flanges will get welded onto the ends of them so that I can attach it directly to the side of my old shed. Once I've done this first one, I can use it as a pattern, and I'll be able to line up the other ones on top of it and make sure that everything's parallel, and that will ensure that all my bows come out exactly the same. Right, so I've now done all 4 of them, and the next job is to get them screwed to the side of the building. There we go, the black polythene's on, the ribs are all lined up. I'm spending a bit of time working on the benches on the inside. I have to put some wooden structure into the end now for a door frame. So I've found some old timber that's been lying behind the shed, and this timber's not treated. I'm going to get 3 bread bags, put them inside each other, and then slip those 3 bread bags over the bottom of the post. That way I can bury the post in the ground without worrying about it rotting, so long as I can keep the plastic above the ground level so that water can't sneak down inside it, and that will make it last probably 5 or 6 years rather than just maybe 1 year if I was to put untreated timber into the ground. So I'll staple that up so the rain can't get in and bung it in the hole. Once again, put half the dirt back in the hole, give it a good tamping, and then the rest of the dirt can go in the hole on top and tamp it down till it's at ground level. And that's how you make a post nice and firm. At the top of these posts, you'll see how I've chamfered them to fit the curve of the frame. And what I'm going to do next is get some scrap pieces of aluminium, and I'll be bracketing these onto the curved frame. The screws I'm using are a self-drilling roofing screw, which is great because they're galvanised, they've got a neoprene washer, and they're self-drilling. They'll drill into timber, but they'll also drill through the aluminium, and they will drill into the steel framework. So these brackets make it nice and tight, and then just one screw into the steel curved metal tube, and it's not going anywhere. So that's the frame finished. What are we going to cover this thing with? Well, we're in lockdown. We're not allowed out. But at 10 o'clock at night, I snuck out and I went through the rubbish bins of the home furnishing shop down in town, because I knew that the big plastic bags that come around mattresses would be in the rubbish bin. So I got one of those. Well, actually, I got 2 of those, and taped them together with this black tape. And there's my cover. It's a pretty cheap and cheerful down and dirty greenhouse, but hey, check it out. I've got my microgreens going in there. I've got some pumpkins and some silver beet already started. It's beautiful and warm, even though it's now autumn in New Zealand and the weather's chilling off. During the day, this thing is really pleasant, and I presume it's holding its heat into the evening. So the plastic that I've put down, it's not going to last a long time because it's just, as I say, a huge plastic bag off a double bed mattress. But it's given me a chance to get these things going, which I wouldn't have otherwise. And it just goes to prove that you can make a greenhouse out of stuff you've got lying around for no expense whatsoever.